Hey everyone, it's been Hardy here, and since it's almost the end of the month, I figured I would quickly make an update video on everything that's happening within the market, because a lot of people seem to want to go and buy cars at the end of the month because they figure they can get a slightly better deal, and we'll kind of talk about that in today's video as well. And I will be making another follow-up video in November once we get October's numbers released in terms of like national car sales and all that, to see exactly what happened in October. But with that being said, as always, if you want to save time and money the next time I purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. So there's actually a lot for us to go over in today's video because a lot happened during the month of October, and that's actually what prompted me to start making these videos, because I haven't seen anything quite like this, and well, it needs to be talked about. So we're going to discuss the rate increases and what this has done, and I'm also going to actually dive into different price ranges within cars that are for sale right now and what's happening within those specific price ranges, so you know where there are deals that are starting to pop up and, well, where there aren't really deals at this point. And then on top of that, when it comes to new cars, everything has just been turned completely upside down, because we have more availability with certain new cars, but then we have less availability with other new cars, and ordering right now is just a complete train wreck. And so yeah, we're in for a fun episode today. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on the whole rate increase side of the equation, because I've already made several videos talking about this in depth. And so if you want to hear more in-depth impressions on the whole rate increase situation, then just go watch those videos. But all you need to know for today's video is that yes, rates increased by a pretty large margin in the sales month of October, and it has destroyed a lot of demand for both new and used cars. And yes, rates have increased over the course of the entire 2022 sales year, but the difference with the month of October is the rates increased by a pretty large margin, and they increased to percentage rates that make it so that, you know, with the current price of the average brand new car and average used car, they're just not affordable from a payment perspective for the average consumer. And so we finally like hit that point where, yeah, demand is starting to diminish a lot because people just can't afford cars with these current rates. Let's talk about the different price brackets and what is happening within each price bracket. So under $10,000 is still pretty hot, especially if it is a newer model year, lower mileage, perceived as reliable, and gets good gas mileage, because that's what a lot of people are looking for right now: cheap, reliable transportation. So if it fits that criteria, it's going to sell really fast, and you might even have to pay a price premium for it, even though the entire market is going down. And this actually also applies for the $10,000 to $20,000 price range. Something that I have noticed within this price range is you can now find cars that are relatively new that are under 100,000 miles. And again, it's not gonna be anything exciting. It's gonna be something like, you know, a Hyundai Elantra, for example. But still, I mean, finding a car for under $20,000 that is under 100,000 miles, it was like unheard of last year. Now, the $20,000 to $40,000 price bracket is kind of mixed. So if it's an older car, it's not really hot anymore, unless it's like a specialty product, like a, I don't know, like a Porsche Boxster. It seems like those are still pretty hot. Like people are going after those. But unless it's like brand new, it's not really hot in today's market, because again, a lot of people are looking for what they perceive as cheap, reliable transportation. If it's a brand new car, that's typically perceived as more reliable because, well, it's newer and it also has a factory warranty. And so stuff like, you know, the new Corolla, Honda Civic, Ford Maverick, all that kind of stuff, still commanding price premiums, and they're still really hard to get. Now, once you jump into the $40,000 to $60,000 price range, this is actually where quite a few deals can be had, because this is right around what the average brand new car costs. And this is where affordability has been completely destroyed, because the average person can't really buy cars in this price segment anymore with where interest rates are at. And so there's a lot of, you know, just regular SUVs, pickup trucks, and just a lot of normal vehicles that are starting to stack up on dealer lots within this price range. And so, yeah, you do have the opportunity to wheel and deal within that price range. Now, from $60,000 to $100,000, it really just depends on what it is. If it's a specialty product from a normal manufacturer, think like Ford Raptor, right? That's a specialty product from Ford. Still going to command a huge price premium, still going to be really hard to get. But if it's a normal product from a regular manufacturer, so think something like, you know, Jeep Wagoneer, for example, right? Those are starting to stack up on dealer lots, and again, you have a chance to wheel and deal with stuff like that. And frankly, regular luxury cars are also starting to stack up on dealer lots, because unless it's something that's really specialized, and again, that's something to kind of take note of in this video, people don't really want product that's not specialized at this point because of how big the payments are and how much everything costs. It's starting to sit on dealer lots, like, regular stuff from Mercedes. So like, think like non-AMG product. You're going to be able to get some deals on stuff like that if you just want a, regular luxury car. Now, I'm going to set the next price bracket as just $100,000 plus. I understand that there's a lot of cars that aren't considered highlines in this price range now because cars have gotten so expensive, but we're just going to do kind of like a broad overview with this price range, because most of the vehicles that are not considered highlines that are in this price range from regular manufacturers are specialty vehicles, and so they just fall under that specialty vehicle category where they're still really hot in today's market. With highlines, it just depends on what it is. Again, if it fits within that like specialty vehicle market, then it's still commanding huge price premiums. I just saw a listing for a Porsche Cayman GT4 RS today for like $400,000, which is like almost 3 times original MSRP, like just absolutely crazy. So yeah, there are still huge price premiums on certain product. But again, product that is considered as more normal is starting to sit on dealer lots. So like, I'm starting to see Land Rover dealers get like new Defenders in inventory, and like it's not already pre-sold. Like that has been unheard of since like the Defender came out. And so yeah, you are starting to again see some of this product that's perceived as more like regular, if that makes sense, stack up on dealer lots. So understand that there is some of that stuff that you can wheel and deal on right now. Now, at this point in the video, you're probably noticing a trend, and that is the fact that the car market is still declining at a rapid rate, and there is no end in sight at this point. And this is really hurting dealerships. Now, I am going to make a dedicated video to what is happening with dealerships once I get official numbers released for the sales month of October. But all you need to know for today's video's sake is new car sales are down by a lot, and used car sales are also down by a lot. On the new car side of things, people aren't taking delivery of vehicles they specially ordered because interest rates are higher and wholesale values have decreased, so their trade-in isn't worth as much as they thought, so they just can't afford the new car that they ordered. They don't want to afford the new car that they ordered. And then on top of that, manufacturers are building cars that people don't want to buy, because right now people want to buy cars that are affordable, fuel efficient, and reliable. And cars in the $40,000 to $60,000 price range can be reliable, and they can be somewhat fuel efficient, but they typically aren't, because they're typically trucks and SUVs. They're not smaller cars that get good fuel economy. And they're definitely not affordable, right? If it's over $40,000, that with today's interest rates, that's just not affordable for a regular person. And if that's all that's getting built, or mostly what's getting built by manufacturers, then yeah, people aren't going to be buying cars, so new car sales are going to go down. And then on top of that, ordering is an absolute disaster. Dealerships are struggling to get the orders in that they need to get in. And on top of that, there's so much stuff under restriction that people are just like, yep, I don't want to order right now because I can't get the options that I want. And I don't want to risk ordering and having the vehicle built out with options that I don't want, because the manufacturer decides that they just want to ship out a vehicle that's not what I ordered. So yeah, new car sales, absolute disaster. On the used car side of things, every single dealership at this point is underwater with a large majority of their inventory, because dealerships have pretty old inventory at this point, because again, used car sales have been slowing down like month after month by a pretty large margin. And so dealerships have a lot of old inventory right now, and because the values have decreased by so much, they're upside down with their inventory. And so they have all these cars that they can't sell, and when they do sell them, they're losing money on them because they paid way too much money for them a few months ago. And in reality, they didn't really pay too much money for them. They, basically paid what was fair market value a few months ago. But, since the market's declined by so much, it's no longer fair market value. It's being underwater. That's pretty much going to sum things up for our end of month update before we are able to really dig into what happened during the month of October once we get all of the official numbers. Hopefully this helps you out if you're looking to rush into a dealership and get an end of month deal. And like I said, there are some deals to be had because of these inventory increases, especially in different segments that have cooled down by a massive amount. I mean, like, It's crazy to think, but like last year, people were literally paying like over MSRP for everything. And now there is a lot of talk of rebates from certain manufacturers. Other manufacturers are going to buy down interest rates. Basically, instead of discounting their product, they're going to offer lower interest rates if you finance through their particular lending institution. Like there's a lot of talk of that type of stuff happening now. And so again, huge shift. And so, you know, at the end of this month, there are some deals to be had. And in the next few months, there are definitely going to be some deals to be had, especially when it comes to, you know, rebates on certain product and then also just lower APR overall. With that being said, that's going to sum things up. If you want to see more content like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post videos every single day. I'll see you.